And now it's time for a preview of an upcoming game by Tom Vasel.
Today we're taking a look at a preview game from Mayday Games called Walk the Plank. Now you might know Mayday Games from, they've made several games, but their most popular, at least in my opinion, and their best game, at least in my opinion, is Get Bit, which is a game of swimmers swimming around and then the shark chases them. Walk the Plank is a very similar feel to that, as you each control some pirates who are so stupid, says the captain, that he's decided to make you all walk the plank. However, as you all stumble around and are throwing people off, if you survive the mob of pirates falling into the sea, the captain will say, you know what, I changed my mind about you. You guys can still be on the crew. Whew. Let's look at the game. As I say in all my previews, all the components that you're seeing here are prototype components, and they will, in this case, very likely be changed. What we're doing here is just to give you an idea of how the game is played. Each player gets 3 pirates, which they all have here on the ship, and they're all being crowded along, being forced to walk the plank. One person is given the captain's favor. That person will go first after each round. That's going to pass counterclockwise, so the person who goes last gets to go first in the next round. Each round plays the same way. Players are going to take a handful of cards that they have, and they're going to choose 3 of these cards and put those 3 cards in front of them. And then in turn order, they'll turn over the first card, resolve it, go around the table, turn over the second card and resolve it, go around the table, and then turn over the third card and resolve it and go around the table. Pass the captain's favor, and then go to the next round. Now, when you're playing the different cards, there's all different cards that you can use. Some of the cards have this little icon up in the top, which means you can't use those cards 2 times in a row. So when you play that card, you set it aside instead of taking it back into your hand. And then at the end of the next round, you put it back in your hand, and you'll be able to use that again. And then there's one card here, Charge, which just says it can't be the first of the 3 cards you play. So when you're putting 3 cards down, you can't put Charge as the first, although it can be the second or the third. So let's talk about what the cards do. You have a shove right, a shove left, and a shove anyone card. Of course, a shove anyone card can only be played every other turn. When you are shoving someone, you're trying to shove them towards the ocean, you just take a pawn of that, a pirate of that person, and you push them 1. You have to be there, so if I'm here, I can push him here. If I can't push anybody with this one, and I can't push them because I don't have any people in that spot, hopefully I want to be on the end and I can shove him into the sea. Ah! Ha 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 ha. Okay. Then we have drag to the sea and pull to ship. Now these are both done the same way. If I have my person in a spot with somebody else and I pull them to the ship, we can come back. Now usually I want to do it where I have 2 of my guys so I can pull my own guy back. I hate to pull back my most hated enemy, but I might have to do that. If there's nobody with any of my guys, then I can't pull people back to the ship. Dragging them away from the ship is, come on, let's go! No one wants to live forever! And so you want to drag your enemies and maybe even sometimes commit suicide by throwing them off the ship. Who knows? Now, it could be really bad if you play that card and the only person you can drag is yourself. But that can happen. Then we have retract the plank and extend the plank. If you retract the plank, you simply take off the last one, and any person on it falls into the sea, where I guess they can play a good game of Get Bit. And you can retract it again, maybe someone else, which would be really bad for Blue, because all his people would be out of the game at that point. You can't retract this last piece. There always has to be 1 piece left on the plank. But you can then extend the plank and put it back so that it's harder to get off. So that's what retract and extend the plank. I don't want to die, which can only be played every other turn, is one good way to run away. You say, I don't want to die, you can move 1 or 2 spaces back towards the ship. Run around is similar, where you can move 1 space. In fact, you have to move 1 space back towards the ship. If for some reason you only have people back on the ship, then you have to move them forward. They're just running around. And then my favorite card, which is Charge, lets you move forward 1 and push somebody 1 space closer. It's really great when they're on the end, and I charge and knock you off into the ocean. So that's what all the different cards do. Now, players are going to continually do this, and pirates are going to continually die. When all 3 of your pirates are out, you are eliminated, and you will continue to go until one of 2 things happens. If one person is the only person with pirates left, then that person wins. Or, if there are 2 pirates left, then those two colors have a joint victory. Or this is rare, but it's possible for everybody to die at the same time, in which case nobody wins. Walk the Plank is a game that I very much enjoyed. It was a very light game, and in essence what you're trying to do is you're trying to outguess your opponents. What are they going to do at any point in time? There is player elimination in the game, which means you'll be out of the game, but since the game, we're talking a 20-minute game here, and you probably won't be out till the last 5 minutes or so, it doesn't really matter that much. You have to decide which to play. Obviously the cards that can be played every other turn are very powerful, but you have to decide when to play them. Charging, shoving people, it's very entertaining. Sometimes there great big laughs will be found because somebody will retract the plank and they did not realize that half or all their pirates were going to be standing on that edge of the plank when they did it. You know, usually if you're really good, you can set things up, but you never know what the other players do. Think of it almost as a very, very, very light form of Robo Rally, where people are programming what they're going to do each turn, and that is what you're doing, but you're only programming 3 actions. But you do have that control over the game. I'm very excited to see what the final components are going to look like, and you have a chance to do that too. So jump on this Kickstarter if you're interested. A fun light game. Everyone I played with had a good time with it. Walk the Plank.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.